Well, hello, everyone. This is Dr. Cint Gilstrap, and we are here on a Friday. Yes, it's at the end of the week, and we're definitely excited. Get ready. We're getting ready to have a conversation that needs to be had. In a while, sometimes it's just necessary to talk about things such as this topic that we're going to talk about tonight. Welcome all my first time guests, and I'm definitely excited for your presence on tonight. Before I get started, I want you all to know, listen, you're in for a treat. So go ahead and tag and share. And we want to make sure that we have others that are joining and connecting with us tonight. Go ahead and tag and share this call. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for the support, and we are ready to go ahead and get started. I have a dynamic professional on the call with us tonight, and I'm telling you, her education, her knowledge, her wealth of information. Nothing can touch what she has and what God has bestowed on the inside of her. I'm actually ready to just jump into the conversation because I'm excited. Listen, I understand so many things are going on, but we are in high pursuit. Anybody in high pursuit? We are in high pursuit of everything that God is doing in our life. Amen. What the enemy means for our bad, God gonna turn it around and work it out for your good. So I'm excited again to be on the call tonight with my guests. Amen. We're getting ready to have a conversation. We said it's thought provoking. This is a thought provoking intellectual conversation. Watch this, at a no judgment platform. In other words, we just keep it real on down to earth. And I'm excited to be here this Friday with her. So I want to share a few things about this dynamic woman as I bring her to the platform tonight. Dr. Onequa Hampshire is an educator that believes all children can learn, and when offered the opportunity with assistance, they can strive towards higher heights. She considers the students diverse life experiences and their own unique way of learning, which will aid in assisting others to learn and grow in an engaging environment. She thinks that her role in the classroom is to motivate the students in a positive manner and to use herself as an instrument to facilitate active learning. I'm so excited. Watch this. In the summer of 2018, this woman was awarded the opportunity to become an American Institute for Resource and Human Development Fulbright Hayes Group Project Abroad participant. The 5-week study abroad program provided her with an opportunity to strive into culture, language, and the ability to meet and learn from experts across different academic fields who shared their knowledge with the participants to better prepare them to share with their peers and students in the United States. The knowledge gained helped her communicate and grasp a better understanding as she traveled to different regions around the greater Accra area, Cape Coast, and Kumasi to visit historical sites to experience the richness of what Ghana has to offer. This woman have been in educator for 19 years. She was rewarding experience, has aided her in developing a special interest in providing professional development opportunities for students and teachers in Ghana. In 2019, she volunteered her time with the Center for Transatlantic Leadership and Progressive Study program to provide about 50 teachers with professional development activities that would assist them in their classroom. She looks forward to allowing God to lead and guide her as she continues to volunteer to seek opportunities to assist other teachers. I am so excited As I stated, I was getting so tongue tied. Listen, but I'm excited to be here. And again, we welcome each and every one of you to the call on tonight. And I am excited to be here. Without any further ado, I want to present to some and introduce to others none other than my guest on tonight, Dr. Onequa Hampshire. Welcome, 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 Dr. Hampshire.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm
And
so
thank you
glad
for
to have
allowing
you.
me. Thank you,
I've
sir.
never read your bio, but that's extraordinary. You said you wasn't awarded things, but you have had so many opportunities to really stretch your knowledge, international and global. And so for that reason, again, I honor you and I thank God for this opportunity to have you on the platform for tonight. So thank you again for being here. We definitely appreciate it. But I want to jump into the conversation because there's so much that I want to ask, so many questions I want to talk about. And so, based on the transition with the presidency, of course, things have transitioned and changed. And one of the topics of conversation in the education arena is doing away with public schools, bringing in institutions of like home education or charter schools and things of that nature. But from a professional standpoint, I want to know your views as it relates to the relinquishing or getting rid of the public schools. How would that affect the community?
Um, well, thank you for this opportunity. With them trying to eradicate public education, I feel that that will be a disservice for those students who look forward to actually going to the schoolhouse. We like I work in a school district where actually a school where we have a large homeless population, and so
Mhm.
sometimes that is a safe haven for some of those students where that may be sleeping in a car or they may not have food to eat. So, to me, it's almost like a place where it's almost a safe place for them to go. And then, you have teachers who actually really do care about their students. And so, me, and I know my team, we really try to show that we care about our students. And, like for me, I know that some of my kids may come hungry, so I do have like snacks in my closet. So, sometimes if your students are hungry, it's hard for them to actually sit down and learn. So I try to assist with helping them to eat or giving them something to eat or something like that. And I just try to care. Students don't really know how care about how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And then once they understand that you care about them, then they're open for education. So I feel that if they get rid of that place where the free education, I feel that that will serve the United States a great
Just
just a disadvantage, especially for those that do strive in the public educational arena.
this situation is so very serious. Just like you stated, there are so many um, occurrences with our students because we have such a large population of kids that deal with homeless issues. And I can recall certain situations when I was in a certain arena where kids would come home as come to school as well, and they hadn't been fed. They didn't have coats and different things like that. So I'm not sure if the government understands. Excuse me. If the government understands the great significance of having public school sectors. I think for me, if they were to come out and visit and get to see and do things on hand, they would become more knowledgeable about the situation. But if you're just looking from afar, then I don't think it's beneficial. You have to be hands on with this because there are so many children, just like you stated, that are in impoverished situations that they depend on the school as a cornerstone for the community. And without this educational tool, Every parent can afford it. Every parent can afford charter. Every parent can afford private school, Christian school. And so for those children that parents can afford it, what do they do? What do they do at that sense?
And that's really hard because some parents need that, especially those working parents. And some, you have a lot of single parent homes where during that time when their kids are in school, they can work. And so I know it's hard sometimes when we're out of school during little small vacations like spring break, and so that will kind of hinder or um, cause others to try to find other means to earn money, because it will they need to find babysitters. And to me, babysitting fees in this day and time is the cost has gone astronomically high in this day and time. And so I know that Nelson Mandela said education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And so if
Ooh.
education can be a powerful weapon, if they're trying to take that weapon away from us, then what do we have? And so, when I was growing up, I used to always see this from my mom. The knowledge that you gain is no one can take that from you. So that's why my mom always encouraged us to read, and like she would turn off the TVs. We wouldn't were allowed to watch television. She wanted us to read books. She wanted us to learn. I remember times where my dad would have me calculate the cost of the groceries as they were putting things into the cart. So yes, we can learn at home, but I feel that also the engagement of others, like, sometimes in the classroom, I use something called a lifeline, because
Mhm.
sometimes the kids can learn from other peers. So once they understand it, they can break it down. So, and not saying they can say the same thing as the teacher, but
Mhm.
it's that interaction and that academic discourse from their peers that actually help them. Oh, okay. And it's almost like a light bulb that goes off. So if that is stifled, if that is taken away, then what do we really have?
There are so many, and you're right. I mean, what will we really have? Uh, I was even thinking about what you said as it relates to food. And I got to keep going back to that because something came to my mind. The fact that even with, and you and I discussed this before, even with, the teachers being underpaid
Mhm.
and overworked, and now the stress of children that are in homeless or impoverished positions or conditions. And now all of these things are colliding together. And so as a educator, it has to be challenging as well as heartfelt, because I'm assuming based on you being who you are as a person and an individual, I know you to be very compassionate. And so when you're compassionate with your job, the emotions begin to surface, and it's hard to suppress when you know that if I could do something different, or if I could do something more, or what can I do to help better the situation. And that's a lot of what's going on. Again, I say this: the fact that we need to get the politicians to come out of their office and come into the public schools so they can get a on-hand view of what goes on and how it operates in school, in the public school sector every day. They need to see that. It's one thing putting a bill together, it's another thing putting a law together. But when your hands on, it changed the perspective and the dynamics of everything across the board. So you can't be outside looking in with assumption. You have to get in the trenches with the children, because even now today we're living in, many people have good salaries, but at the end of the day, you still have those certain individual children. And watch this, their parents didn't have an education, or either some of the parents grew up during the time where the drug use was very popular and that's where they were raised. And so the structure, the foundation for these children is not where it needs to be. I don't only think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't only think that the children need education, but some of the parents need adult literacy. Because in order for the children to get better, the parents have to give them the things that they need in order to help them become the greater individual that they can become. What are your thoughts?
Um, you know, that was some powerful statements that you did make. We have a lot of parents that really do care, and they try, especially like with the new, because I teach mathematics, and especially sometimes with this new mathematics, and a lot of times many people they shy away from mathematics, and
Right.
they feel that it's hard, or they feel that especially when it comes to fractions and stuff like that. So they tend to not be able to help their students. So we try to have like academic nights where we provide different resources, and I just provide, let's say, activities that they can do at home, like going giving the students sale paper, making things relatable to them, and so
Mm,
it is not as challenging or as frightening as it may seem, because learning how to budget. So that's one thing, because that's mathematics right there. Being able to handle a checkbook. That's just basically teaching them life skills, but that's still also math. So let's say if you have a family of four, and you're giving so much money a month, how can you how can you go and provide food or make meals for them? And so it's a lot of different activities that the parents can use to help teach their children the way that that is comfortable for them, where they don't have to feel afraid or frightened. So but as literacy has been a major problem, not only just not only with students, but some some different programs as well, because we find that reading goes across everything, every content, especially like with word problems, social studies, anything. Like you have to read and read the word problems, and so we are finding that that has been a major issue. So this past last year, when we did go to Africa, that was one of the focus, especially after COVID hit. It was we went back to, okay, well, we need to show phonics, because some of the kids were online. They missed out on phonics and learning how to pronunciate and sound out words, so that they can begin to read. Because reading, if you think about it, some of the reading levels, they're like they can be in sixth grade reading on the first or kindergarten level, because they did not get the foundation, the fundamentals. So
mhm.
it is a major problem. But if we encourage them to just read maybe 10 minutes a day, that will help to build that. And if the parents can like read with them or ask them questions, and that's where the reading comprehension come in, where they can read something and then they can explain it. Sometimes kids will read and not really understand what they're reading, because they're just reading and not but if they know that you're going to ask them questions, then it becomes more relatable. Okay, I'm gonna have to really think about this. I'm gonna have to really um, read to get an understanding, because I know my mom is about to ask me some questions about that, and that will actually help build their reading comprehension in that area.
I think that's very important. We were at a meeting on yesterday, and
Mhm.
a lot of things that was stated in some of the professionals was that from the age of kindergarten to third grade, it should be reading, writing, and arithmetics.
Mhm.
Remove the science and the social studies until they at least in the third grade and pick it up, because we're losing the knowledge of the children in the reading. A child probably can be successful or achieve, be a high achiever. And I know it's just like my granddaughter. She was born with a speech delay. However, her reading is behind, but she couldn't talk at all. So we're taking a child that had a speech delay and putting her in a school where now it has to be on hand. She has come such a long way, but math is her strong point. She can do math with her eyes closed, because where a child fall vulnerable at in one area, they
Mhm.
gain strength in another area. So I have to make sure, as a grandmother, that I'm constantly, doing sight works with her, and I'm doing all these different things to bring her knowledge up to where it needs to be, so she'll be a fluent reader. But if people as parents, because even in this, and I'm gonna do a sidebar real quick and throw it in here, even when we have PTA meetings, and I don't even think they have those anymore, even when there's PTA meetings and things of that nature, the parents don't come. Where in order for you to know about your child, I think we have to learn how to be active in the community. If that's where you live, case in point, we're in Georgia. If you're in Gwinnett County, you live in Gwinnett County, your children attend school in Gwinnett County, that's where your taxpayer dollars are going. You
Mhm.
would want to make sure that the educational system in that area is conducive for your child. So we have to learn how to bridge the gap between the parent, the children, the institution of higher learning. All of those things play a major factor. We have to learn how to merge these things together, because if we don't, we will lose the next generation of children. The government is saying get rid of the public schools, but they don't understand, again, the public schools are the cornerstone for those that cannot afford putting their children in charter schools and Catholic schools and private schools and things of that nature. So, what is the substitution plan at this point? What do we do as educators, as professionals, to make the government aware of the importance of public school? What are some of the suggestions that you would do from a professional standpoint? Just what will we do? How can we gain the politicians' attention? Do we need to write letters? What do we do? Because they have to know the importance of these.
I think writing letters, not just from the teachers, but from the student standpoint. What does education mean to them? And let them hear it from a child's perspective about education. And we can't just do away with education. We can't just assume that it's okay to not provide a free public education to our students.
Correct.
And
That is so true.
so what's that? John Dewey said, education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. So if we take education away from our students, free education, then where do we leave them? You get what I'm saying? So we
Mhm.
have to really be mindful. And I understand that since COVID, that the educational system have really went through a transformational stage where it's more technology driven. And so we have to understand, okay, yes, we can use technology, but nothing can really replace a great teacher. A great teacher will enhance their teaching with technology. And so to reach the new generation of students, we will need to use a plethora of things, and technology is one. And so even though technology is great, it cannot replace a great teacher.
Oh,
One
that
way.
is so true. I got to agree with that one. I got to cut in and agree with that one, because technology don't have compassion. It doesn't have passion. It doesn't have love, laughter. It doesn't have life, and that's what you all bring to the table. So again, I honor you for the position that you all are in. But at this point, we have to learn how to, I don't know. I'm trying to find out where are the voices in the community that are willing to stand up for the cornerstone of the educational systems that we have in our community. Because if you remove it, then what do we have? And so we want to make sure that we keep the institution of higher learning in our communities instead of removing those things. And then what about the children? You said something in your bio. You said that you are traveled to Ghana. I remember the first time I traveled to Ghana in 2010. And during that time, there was a influx of deaths from HIV. There were hundreds of millions of children that was abandoned during that time because they lost their parents during the epidemic of HIV. And so in that region, if you cannot afford to have uniforms and things of that nature, your children can't go to school. If you don't have means and different things to educate your children. I remember when I was there, and one of the women were asking me, can I start my school in Kumasi? And I remember them giving me a testimony, and the testimony was they found a baby laying under a tree. But had they not found the baby and heard the voice of the child, then an animal would came along and they would have ate the baby, thinking that it was just food. And so I'm saying all that because America has been truly blessed to have these educational systems in place because everyone don't have it. And we have taken so many things for granted, and education is one of them. And I'm going to do a sidebar real quick because it's been told to me that they don't even teach the kids anymore how to sign their name. If anything should have been, stayed in school as a curriculum, I think that would have been major. Why would you remove the signature of a child? But I'm definitely excited again during the fact that we have people like you that are still compassionate in this area and want the best for the children. If we don't fight for the children, then what will happen to our children of the next generation?
And that's a great question. We do have to have compassion. We do have to understand that, you know, we are teaching the next generation. And when you said that, um, I went over to Africa and we are here blessed. Yes, that is so true. I did go and I go over every year. We are truly blessed to be able to provide students with lunches, to be able to even have a lunchroom because some of the places over there they don't provide them lunches. They have to
Wow.
provide themselves with the food and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so um, for us to have air conditioning or windows and stuff like that, because some of the schools do not have that. And when I went over there the first time I went, and I ran across a teacher with 120 students in one classroom with no
Wow.
assistants. I said I would never complain about 35 kids in my classroom ever again because I'm blessed. Because 120 students on one teacher in one class, that was an eye opener. Like, whoa! And so you go in and you see them stacked from the back, you know, up to the front, and I was like, wow. And so I just truly thank God that we are able to provide different things like textbooks and um,
Exactly.
like some districts they provide computers to for the students to be able to use it because in some areas the students may not be able to afford it. And so I know in
Mhm.
Clayton County we do provide Chromebooks so that the students can do their work electronically because the times have shifted. It's no longer paper based. It is electronic, and so I thank God that we do provide, but sometimes the kids do not understand the value, and they may try to tend to not want to do their work, so they destroy it. But they are provided with the necessities that they need so that they can um, learn.
I remember when I was growing up, Dr. Hampshire, and the statement used to be, it take a village. It takes a village to raise the community. We're not at the point or place anymore in life where it says it takes a village. We're more at an individualized situation. And I think that I heard one of the ladies say before, and I can't think of her name, but it was on a coalition panel, and she said that the principals are afraid of the parents are afraid of the students, and the students not afraid of anybody or anything. And so we have to learn how, and they put the teachers in there, but I'm paraphrasing, but they were just saying we have to learn how to take back our classrooms.
Mhm.
Although they removed a lot of the ways that you all have to discipline and things of that nature. And it's as if they've given the kids more power in the classroom than the teachers. But even in doing that, we have to be so skillful and trained to strategize how we actually educate. I've seen several videos of teachers that have creative methods of, doing sing-alongs for the kids to learn their multiplication, or do sing-alongs, for the kids, or a rap song for the kids to learn how to read, and the phonics of things.
Mhm.
And so we want to make sure that we keep, uh, I guess, the excitement of the classroom open for the children that are willing to learn. We have to have creative ideas to keep some of the children alert and attentive, because believe it or not, there is I mean, there's a scale. You have some kids that are easy learners, some kids that are slow learners, and some kids that, may not be to comprehend at all. So we want to make sure for all of the children, we're giving them the fair share of what they need in order to comprehend and get their education. But my heart goes out for the government, because they're really trying to push this thing about public schools, and that would just be devastating. I cannot even imagine not having public schools in our communities. Not only will it affect us and our children, but it'll affect the communities that we live in, because then they're becoming abandoned buildings and things of that nature. We have to sound the alarm. We have to get parents and teachers on one accord. I don't know what that entails, but I know that I have a heart, and I understand that it's highly important to make sure that our children have institutional learning, because back in the slavery days, they didn't have that. So it's an honor. So where has the respect gone? And I'm gonna turn it back over to you, because I want you to kind of jump in here. One thing I heard this right here, Dr. Hampshire, I heard that if we don't take care of ourselves, then who will? If we don't do it, and we don't become the voice, then who gonna do it?
And that's a very powerful statement. We have to understand and that who we are. We really need to understand who we are, and a lot of times, negative statements can really affect our students,
Wow.
and especially hearing it all the time. Oh, you can't do, you can't. And so I tried. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
We have to change that fixed mindset, and instead of saying I can't do it, I can't do it yet. And so I try to help the students understand that, oh, don't come in with that negative attitude towards math. I love math, and I try to share my love for math. Like, don't say we gonna get this. And so I try to show them different ways, and you know even with a mistake, I'll be like, oh, okay, but look, you still got these two steps. Now I see we got to learn a little bit more about this multiplication, or just use this little calculator. So I try to encourage them. Um, the last test I did, it was like a little quiz, and so it was this one young lady. I can't do math. I can't do math. I said, baby, I just need you to just calm down. It seemed like you just stressing yourself out. I said, I just want you to relax, okay? I said, just think of it as just another little assignment. The little girl got a 90%. So
Wow.
and a lot of my students did very well. I think we were doing I can't even remember what we were doing. I think exponent. I think yeah, we were doing exponents, and so we were just trying to show them how to do the exponents and the exponential rules and stuff like that. And so I said, "Baby, you understand it. You know it. I know you know it." And so the kids did so well that I went over to Sam's Club, got them some treats. Okay, tell me what you want. So I had some honey buns and whatever, some chips and stuff. I said, "We're gonna have a munch and learn." And so a
I
munch
like
and
that.
learn is okay, you guys did well on something. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have us some snacks, but we got to still work. We don't focus. And so they love munch and learns
I
and stuff
love
like
that.
that. And so I try to do little different things, and I try to, encourage them. Hey, hey, this is great. I try to get real excited so they get excited. Oh, I did it. Oh, yes, you did, baby. You did
Oh, I
wonderful.
love
And
that.
so,
Munch and learn. I
oh
like
yeah, I
that.
love munch and learns.
And see,
Yeah.
those are expectations. You give them, hope, and ammunition so they can have something to look forward to. That's a builder. That's a confidence builder.
Yes. And
I
that's
remember.
basically what we're trying to
I
do.
remember
Right.
when I was growing up, and you probably remember this part too, but when we did something good, like our chores and stuff, we got a reward. We got an allowance for what we did. And so I was grateful to clean up, knowing that I had to clean up my little bathroom because I was going to get my little coins. And so having them to have something to look forward to, especially those that live in challenging or dysfunctional situations, having them to have something to look forward to, that's priceless. That's
Well,
priceless. They'll
I
remember.
didn't have that type of experience. What I did have was my little brother.
Uh-huh.
He was my responsibility.
Uh-huh.
And so I would come home, and I had to, because my parents had to work, so that was my responsibility. And
Uh-huh.
so I had to take care. He was 5 months old when I first started taking care of him, and so my thing was making sure that he was good and making sure that he knew how to count. So he knew quite a bit, so that was
Right,
my
right.
responsibility. So I didn't have that allowance type of reward because it was 7 children in the household, and so that was
Mm.
not that was not my experience. So,
I
but my
can agree.
mom
It
my
was
mom
seven.
was very smart, and so she wanted us to learn. And so when I did I was doing my master's, and they made us go back, and they wanted us to do our history. And so
Mm-hmm.
I found out that my grandmother, my mother's mother, was actually going. She was enrolled at Loyola University in Chicago, and she was doing a master's. And to me, that was like, wow. Back in that time,
Wow.
she was doing a
Yes.
master's in education. And
Yeah.
so I actually talked to the university, and she was enrolled and stuff like that. She didn't finish because she got tuberculosis and passed. So, but for her to be matriculating to get her master's in that time where that was really unheard of, I was like, wow.
That's
So
impressive. That's
yeah, so that
impressive.
was just, just encouraging right there. And just the, my dad, I didn't know until I finished my bachelor's that my dad was actually a math major. And so I was like,
Oh, that's where it came from.
right. And so, it was like, okay, so he used to make us do a lot of math in our head. And so we couldn't use calculators. So,
Right.
I used to have to figure it out on our own, but it was very encouraging. So, again, I did not have the allowance type piece, but I did like babysit. And so anything I got, it went to my little brother. It didn't go to me.
You sound like my grandbaby. Everything about her little brother. Everything is
Yeah.
about her little brother. Everything. So I understand. I want to make sure that our children are the future. I think it was what's his name? Muhammad Ali. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. Listen, I love that because it's a fact.
Yes.
If you get if you teach a person how to fish, then they'll never go hungry because they'll always have something to eat. If you teach kids education and you
Mhm.
have passion and compassion for these children, they'll always understand and be able to comprehend if it's done the right way. Math is every day. We deal with physics every day. I don't care what you're doing, it's mathematically connected. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're going downstairs on your job, going up an elevator at work, it's mathematically. If you're driving in your vehicle, if you stand in the middle of lanes, and people don't understand that it's mathematically connected. Everything in the world revolves around numbers.
Mhm.
And so I definitely understand that. But this, let me tell you something. All I know is we have to connect with our children.
Mm.
And whatever that means is, Texas, I understand how put prayer back in school, which I think is phenomenal. Prayer is definitely needed, but of course, everyone are not believers, and so it's a it's a conflict of interest as it
Mhm.
relates to religion. Some people feel like it shouldn't be. Some people feel like if you put prayer in school, then we can also talk about atheists being an atheist. So then what do? So it's always a conflict as it relates to doing the right thing versus doing the wrong. But I appreciate, let me tell you something, everything that you all bring to the tables as professional educators. Because I know in this day and time, with the fact that there is no discipline anymore, it has to be challenging. And with that being said, the workload of what you all have to endure. Talk about that.
If it wasn't for the children, I don't believe I would still be in education. Um, I don't feel that the powers that be understand that the shift in education, with the students having trouble reading and you adding more standards for the students to learn, and we have less time. And then um, I worked corporate America prior to coming to education. And in corporate America, you get an hour lunch and you get two 15-minute breaks. Well, here in Georgia, in the middle school sector, you can go all day without a break. And they say, oh, you get it's a time when what's that, planning. Mm-mm. Those are taken up by meetings. And so if like I remember when I first started in education, I was like, wait a minute, we have to walk the kids to the restroom. We have to walk them to lunch, and you have to go with them everywhere. And so when I wasn't in middle school. I was in junior high. It was our responsibility to get ourselves there on time. And so here it was just a like when I first started middle school, it was like a culture shock to me because I was like, wait, coming from corporate America with a break, and now you don't have that break, and so you're um, required to have all these meetings, and then you're also required after school if they have things after school. So you go all day without a break. You don't have your own lunch. You have to sit with the kids at lunch. Then you have another meeting after school. So sometimes you go from 12 or 13 hours without a break. And to me, that's right there. It's a little challenging.
Hmm.
So if it was not for the students, yeah. Mm.
I can appreciate and attest to the fact that you said that if it wasn't for the students, if we had more educators that way and said that if it wasn't for the children, that lets us know it's not just about the paycheck. We thank God for the check because it takes care of our responsibilities. But you still have passion. I remember when I was growing up and coming through primary school back in my day in Georgia and DeKalb County, especially because I'm a DeKalb County alumni. But in DeKalb County, we went from preschool to seventh grade, and then eighth grade to 12th grade. So we didn't have middle schools in DeKalb
Oh,
County. We didn't start getting middle schools to much later. And so, because there was still integration, we were still integrating certain areas. And I think that we might have been one of the five or six families in Chapel Hill back in those days in the early 80s that was integrating the area. So there were still things that were needed. But I went to school during a time where I had older teachers.
mhm.
I had older teachers, and they were very professional. They were put together. You didn't come to work and they cleavage showing, or they had on sweatpants or t-shirt and tank tops, or they had on what do you call them, Crocs. No, they dressed up every day. And I remember one of my teachers, and I'll never forget, she kept a ruler on her, the long ruler, she kept it on her desk to let us know that if you get out of hand, she gonna pop your hand. And so it was teachers like that that I remember. having compassion for the children, and making sure that their knowledge was infused on the inside of these children. So I wish we had those days again. But now we're entering in, and I'm going to let you jump in here because I know you're going to want to. We're entering a time of AI. We already dealing with the fact that we dealing with GPS and the kids don't know their addresses and telephone numbers at
Mm.
all. But now we're entering into a time of AI. Share your thoughts and opinions on that.
If used correctly, AI can enhance the classroom. However, if used incorrectly, it's taking away the student's ability to think. They're um, so the reason why I was so excited about the last quiz that we took, what I did was I collected all electronic devices beside the computer
Good
as they
job.
entered in. I put it in lockdown mode. Then I scrambled the answer choices for every child
Good job.
so that I wanted to see your real ability. I don't want you to look it up on Chat GPT or whatever that where they can take a picture and that there are some apps that they can take a picture of the question and it gives them the answer. So I collected all devices upon entering the classroom and I locked it up and I wanted to see exactly what they were actually retaining because when you get to that GMAS, we collect devices, then they're on lockdown mode, and so for them to steal, and that was the little girl, that's why we had a munch and learn because I still had 80 something percent of my kids pass the test.
Oh
So
my
that
God.
was
That's
wonderful,
awesome.
and it was
Yes.
like, okay, so
Yes, that's
what else can I
awesome.
do? So AI can enhance, but it cannot, again, replace great teachers. You need the great teachers to enhance the classroom with technology. And so a lot of people, well, as I said, I work corporate America first. So I have a master's in technology. So I try to tell my kids I'm here because I want to be, not because I have to be. And so, actually, I took a major pay cut to come to education. But again, when God tells you to do something, you have to do it. Yes, I was making 60 some $1,000 more than what I make now. But when God tells you to do something, God will make provisions. God will make ways out of no ways, and He will provide for me. And so that is what has happened. When I first came to education, I said, God, I can't kick it and scream. I was like, God, are you sure this is what you want me to do? Because, seeing how the kids were in not behaving so well in the classroom, it was like, whoa, what is this? But then you had to look at it. Okay, so what's going on? What's the problem? So sometimes the kids were acting up because they did not know how to read. And so,
Hmm.
therefore, you have to figure out. I had one student who wasn't even my student, but that person was acting out because he was hungry. So you have to sometimes, okay, sometimes these kids are acting out because of something else, and so you have to not always say, oh, I'm going to write you up. Da, da, da. No. Okay, baby, let's step outside. My kids will say, my favorite word, step outside because I don't want to talk to them in front of other people. I don't want to embarrass them. I would never want to embarrass anyone.
Right.
I just want to see, hey, are you okay? And sometimes I didn't sleep last night. All right, baby, go ahead, put your head down. But I just need you to just look at it tonight when you get home, but just put your head down or whatever. And so, we just have to care enough to understand, okay, these kids are going through something. Like
Hmm.
some kids have to go home and like I had to take care of my siblings. And so sometimes you may be tired because when my brother was 5 months, I had to take care of him. And so I didn't get sleep some of the times. And so, yes, so we have to not just say, oh, it's they're just acting bad. No, no, no. Sometimes it's not that. And so I like to take the time and okay, well, if it's not you acting out, baby, just talk to me. What's going on? And so I find out that it's some other things, underlying things that's going on.
You know what I remember, Dr. Hampshire? I remember when I took Xaria out of Christian school and put her in public school. She was actually in a theme school, and her teacher used to call me, and it's just part of what you were saying earlier. Her teacher used to call me. She was like, "Well, Miss Gilstrap, Xaria is disturbing the class. She talking, she up, she moving around and walking." So when she got home, I said, "Xaria, why are you disturbing the class?" She was like, "Cause mommy, I finished my homework." So it wasn't a challenge for her, because she was bored. She came from a school that was already teaching on a Habakkuk program when
Mhm.
she was 3, 4 years old. And so I put her in public school when she was, I think, first, second grade. So she was accustomed to moving fast paced and doing things. And one thing I do know that affected her tremendously was she realized that they didn't pray, because in Christian school, of course, they had time to
Right.
pray
Mhm.
and to worship God. And so you could tell the difference of the balance. And so I said that because you were saying that if a child is hungry, then they act out. If a child can't read, then they act out. And that's where I'm saying, as far as the balance, we all need to figure out a way that we can help these children. In the meeting I was in the other day, they were saying 1 in every 5 child cannot read. That's unacceptable. Whatever we need to do to help assist our communities, it's what we need to do. And so that's what we need to start tapping into. It's one thing for us to be on platforms such as these, but it's another thing when you have the attention of the audience that you're really seeking for. We need to be at, what we need to do to get to the capital, what we need to do, downtown Atlanta, what we need to do to, for Washington, D.C. to hear the voice of this nation, as we state that we need our public institutions in order to help our children. We don't need you to remove the education system. That's one of the main frames of the communities.
Mhm.
We need help to build these things up. We need the resources that we need. We need the support. We need more pay for the teachers. These are all components that I think would be beneficial. And then we need to I think we need to mandate parent literacy. I really do. Even those parents that have education, even if they have a master's degree or a doctorate, still some type of literacy, so the parent is able to understand. What I found out at 55 is that our parents were the baby boomers. So in our generation, we came up, we want everything. We want this, we want that. We want to have a 6-digit salary jobs. We want beautiful homes, beautiful cars. And I found out that we give our children things to get them out of our way. We don't sit down at the table. We used to sit down at the table when we were growing up. We had one television in one room and everybody watched the TV together. We sat down at the table and mom asked us questions. She was a single parent, but when she was home with us in the evening time, she asked us questions. How was your day? Do you have homework? Did you do your homework? Did you read a book? Those things like that. We have parents now that don't even go in their kids' room. They say that's their privacy. If you live in my house, I'm going in your room. I'm going to look in your book bag, under your bed, in your closet. And those are things that I feel like we have to get back to. We have to get involved and in touch with our children. It's like we have kids that stay in the house with their parents and they don't even know their children. You don't know little Johnny in there creating a bomb on because he pulled up YouTube. Why do he have access to adult things on YouTube and he's not parental guidance? So these are some of the things that, I just wanted to talk about tonight. But I want you to give us some closing remarks because our hour has come. And I want you to just share whatever you desire to share, because I'm telling you, this is just one of many conversations that need to be had about the future of the public schools.
I would like to say that we should be able to enhance education with technology, not replace teachers with technology. It says the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education, which is Martin Luther King Jr. And so we need to enhance education, not replace it, not do away with it. We need to understand that we do need to be able to differentiate instruction so that the different varying levels we are able to reach them. So we have to enhance education through technology.
I'm a firm believer, and I received that, Dr. Hampshire. I'm a firm believer that if man created technology, then technology will make errors. I was on the computer just today, and I had to type in to do a ticket to let them know that the system was running slow. If technology is that advanced, then why you still have a technology department that still has to reset, reboot, go in, update, upgrade every now and again? So that lets me know that there is no replacement for human beings. You can't replace teachers. You can't replace students. You can't replace anyone that's a human being on the face of the earth with a robot, because there are dysfunctions that goes along with that. I don't know why people think that this thing is going to be a perfect. No, it's not. You can't replace what God has created. Oh, I felt that in my spirit. You can't do that. You can't replace human being.
Not
God
at
created us in his image and his likeness. So how can a robot replace what God has created? You can't do it. There will be malfunctions in this AI technology. Even now, you have to be careful because it's not spot on. They think it's A1. No, it's not. If a human being created it, there's going to have errors.
the power. The other day we had, what's that, Monday? I think it was. We had a
Uh,
power outage. Well, it was a power outage at the school. The phone systems didn't work. The
oh,
internet was down. It was the intercom was down, and so they had to listen. I know how to pivot. I've been teaching for 19 years, and I can pull out a lesson from a book. I can create one, and so when technology fails, we have to be able to pivot. And so
oh,
if you're really leaning heavily on just technology alone, what happens if there is a power outage? You need to be able to pivot. And can the computer pivot the way a human can?
Dr. Ham, you just gave me 99 sermons and you just had one for yourself. We have to learn how to pivot. And I'm gonna do a sidebar real quick and we're gonna close this thing out. Because with that being said, what's happening in the earth right now, if the power was to go out around the world and they block the sun, you have to be able to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
You said something so powerful. You have to be able to pivot. And then for us in this generation, because we're technology driven, we're going to have to pivot backwards. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to remember what Big Mama and Little Mama and Grandmama and Great Grandmama and Gigi, listen, what they taught us,
Yep.
what we had to learn how to do.
Turn that oven on if the power go out and you have gas stove. You better turn that oven on and heat up that house.
Okay, you better
Just
know it.
boil some
And
water, heat up put the water. Listen,
listen, put it on top of the stove and let the
yeah,
steam. Listen,
steam. Yep.
okay. And people don't know that. You know why? They
Mm-mm.
technology driven. I'm telling you. I said this the other day. It's going to be catastrophic
Mm-hmm.
when technology go down, because this is the only thing our children know.
Don't know nothing
That's
about
why.
no rotary phones.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing about it. But you have to keep some of the old. With
You have
I
to
had
keep
one of them
something
old
old.
phones because the analog and digital is something
It will
about it.
go
If
out.
the cell lines go down, I got one of them other phones in my house that I can
I'm
still
telling
dial
you.
out with.
I'm telling you,
Because
gotta
if
have
you
one.
don't, mm-mm.
I have
My
one too.
grandma
I bought
always
my
said,
phone.
always keep you one of them phones. Yes,
I'm
sir,
talking
mom.
about I got that phone and an old time flip phone.
Yep.
Whatever I need to do, that's what I need to do. Uh-huh. But and people not thinking along these terms. But it's about survival. It's about education. It's about knowledge. This is another reason why it is so important and imperative for us to be knowledgeable and educated. That's why God said in his word, behold, I give unto you the power to obtain wealth. Wealth come in different forms.
Mhm.
Different forms. Tonight, you shared your wealth with us. I'm not an educator. You are. You can share from experiences. You've seen these things happen for 19 years. That's why voices such as yours needs to be heard. That's why I asked you for this invitation, because people need to understand it's a state of an emergency for the public school sector. And parents have to wake up and get on board with what is happening, what's going on, or either we're going to lose our schools. And we cannot afford to lose our schools
Not
because
at
we
all.
lose the community. We come too far. We come too far.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, Dr. Hampshire?
No, I just thank God for giving me this opportunity because, again, I did go kicking and screaming, but I heard him say teach when I was in college, and I ran for many years until he closed every door. But I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world because I still have students still contacting me this day, and I thank God for them. And I've had some that say, I was about to do something, and I thought about what you would say. And I said, I praise God for it. Something I tell the kids all the time, when they turned around, I said, don't continue to look behind because if you look behind, you'll be left behind. And so you got to get ahead of yourself and you got to stay on track by looking forward and and don't turn back.
Oh,
And
you
so
need
that
to make
remind
that
me
a
of when,
t-shirt.
huh,
You need to
ma'am.
make that one a t-shirt.
So yeah, and I bless God for the opportunity to be able
Yes.
to reach the young lives, and I love my students. They know I love them too. So I just praise God for them.
You always know a good teacher because I can think of several teachers right now. Remember, one name was Miss Hurley. Miss Hurley taught me. She taught my brother. Watch this. She taught my daughter. I Miss Hurley, when you gonna retire? I promise you, Miss Hurley, she hung around for a long, long time. She was an exceptional teacher. She taught me when I was in the third or fifth grade. And then we had a teacher named Miss Monroe. My teacher named Miss Holloway, and then I had a counselor. His name was Mr. Hobbs, and he walked me through. He's the one who actually gave me a scholarship for history, and I was just so shocked and astonished that I didn't know what to do. But I
Mhm.
thank God for those teachers that made that impression on our lives, and those are thoughts and memories that are cherishable for the rest of our lives. They did a stamp on our hearts, and I'm telling you, I appreciate it. I remember Miss Holloway saying, Sister Nina, she said, one day you're gonna look back and you're gonna appreciate me being hard on you. And I was just steady fussing and kicking against the pricks. But today I honor her and all that she did to assist me through my seventh grade part of my education. So thank you again, Dr. Hampshire. I'm telling you, for your 19 years of service. We know it's not easy, but we pray that God will continue to give you the strength to endure until he says otherwise, with your students, with with everything that you do to give back to the community, because believe it or not, that's a form of ministry. So we are grateful for you and your service. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, everybody, our hour have expired. We are literally streaming tonight from YouTube. I wasn't aware. I asked Prophetess Shay, my spiritual daughter. I said, "Where you picking us up from?" But we're streaming from YouTube. So I shared some information over to Facebook, and so you all can definitely go back and tag and share, and you can hear the conversation for tonight. I was trying to figure out where is everybody, but this is our first night streaming from YouTube. So this is a definitely, I mean, from YouTube, this is a different experience for Down to Earth Talk, but I'm so glad to be here. God is stretching me. He's making me uncomfortable, and whatever that situation is for him to do, I'm willing to do it because we're going to higher heights and deeper depths. So I'm excited. Thank you again, Dr. Hampshire, for being my guest for this hour of power and this thought-provoking conversation. Listen, with all that being said, I want you all to pontificate on the information that she's released to you, I've released to you, and I want you to think about being a part of the voice that need to be heard in your community. With that being said, listen, until next time, this is Dr. Cint Gilstrap and my guest on the call tonight, Dr. Onequa Hampshire, and we will see you. I will see you next time on Down to Earth Talk. Have a wonderful, powerful, prosperous night. Until next time, we'll see you then. Be blessed. Bye bye and good night.